Police Minister Bheki Cele is being urged to add another extension to the firearms amnesty. The last amnesty period ended on January the 31st this year, which did not help some who are willing to hand over their guns to police stations. Now, most of the people could not take advantage of the amnesty period because of the COVID-19 national lockdown. Well, joining us now is Adele Kirsten, a director at Gun Free South Africa. She talks to us all the way from Cape Town. Ms. Kirsten, thank you very much for your time. So talk to us first about what you know about this firearms amnesty program, which some are calling for its extension.
Good morning, colleague. Gun Free South Africa's position is that we see absolutely no value in calling for a third amnesty. We've had two amnesties now, really over the last 12 months, with the last one ending on the 31st of January of this year. Of course, COVID has had some impact, but for much of the time, we were in level 1. And that should certainly not have prohibited people to hand in. I think there were two really major stumbling blocks certainly in the last amnesty. Is that SAPS, certainly from our perspective, and we are active on social media, and obviously this is our core business, is following what's happening around gun control and gun-related matters, is we saw very little advertising, very little attempt to really push the message through a variety of different media, nothing particularly innovative. There was some communication, obviously. It was highly technical, which at some level it has to be. But there wasn't a sense that there was this comprehensive communications campaign to really encourage people to hand in their weapons, to explain why it's important to connect with communities, about creating an atmosphere of this was something for people to contribute to and be active in their communities. But secondly, the firearms owning fraternity, very little to encourage their members, as far as we are aware, to comply. And we know the Supreme Court of Appeal ruling, which showed that over 450,000 weapons were in now an unlawful possession, and the ruling came through in July. Yeah. This is a perfect opportunity for people who wanted to hand and surrender their weapons voluntarily to use the amnesty, but also for those who want to relicense, to apply for relicensing. So we really don't see the amnesty has not yielded what it could have and should have.
Adele,
we're clear that we need an audit, basically. The Central Firearms Registry is a mess, and we need to find out actually what is the status of who owns which guns in this country.
Adele, let me ask you this question. How willingly are gun owners in South Africa, and I'm talking about those who legally own these guns, how willing are they to hand them over when you, as Gun Free South Africa, have been talking about just how guns have been replacing knives, particularly in the period of, or in the year 2018, where you say that guns have become the leading cause of murder in the country? And would you blame those people if they are unwilling to hand over these weapons to the police?
Well, it's a complex picture. And so maybe to take a couple of steps back is that, murder, so guns are the leading cause of murder in the country, at close on 50%. And that's from the annual national crime stats. And we see that these patterns keep on changing, which is why it's really important for SAPS to release the data regularly, and for an organization like us, that's an advocacy organization, to keep track of this. That's what's really important. And so it keeps on changing. And we saw a dramatic reduction in gun gun-related deaths over a 10-year period from 2000 to 2010, when we had a good gun law that was being well enforced. And really the key message from that is that reducing access to weapons, both legal and illegal, you need to be doing both, is one of the easiest ways to reduce your gun-related deaths. In terms of what is available and the data we currently know, I think we don't have sufficiently up-to-date data on the the details on the nature and extent of licensed gun holders in this country. So, for example, we know a couple of years ago that it remains white men over the age of 50, that handguns are the weapon preferred for self-defense, but you also have a lot of gun owners using the dedicated categories of hunting, sport shooting, and collecting to accumulate weapons. So it's bringing me back to what's happening at the Central Firearms Registry. Is right now, I think SAPS itself does not know the status of their records. And that's partly because they have an inadequate record-keeping system. And globally, and we know in South Africa, record-keeping is absolutely central to effective gun control. And so we have to, what Gunfree talks about is going to the source or going upstream. So the amnesties, and Gunfree is a big supporter of amnesties because it can yield significant number of weapons, removing them off our streets and out of our homes. But if upstream you don't have an adequate and efficient record-keeping system, it's kind of like putting stuff into a black hole. So for Gunfree, the priority for SAPS is sort out your record-keeping system and ensure that it's as tight as possible, that there is as little opportunity for fraud and corruption. And secondly, if over these last two amnesties, at the moment the figures are unclear how many weapons were surrendered or recovered, is we know that this is a critical moment. Once you've removed guns through an amnesty, you have to fast-track them to destruction, because this is a weak point in the control system, and guns can move out of the system. So you need audits as well. So for us, the message to SAPS is prioritize destroying these weapons and ensure that you've got good record keeping, that you're destroying the weapons that were handed in. And secondly, prioritize sorting out your record keeping system.
Adele Kirsten, thank you so much for your time. And I can tell you that it absolutely does not inspire confidence when you're going to hear that police officers themselves are before courts for selling these very weapons to criminals. That just defeats the whole purpose. But let me thank you for your time at the moment.